Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about transit Pluto conjunct one's natal midheaven. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve Pluto, it can be connected with transformation, power, obsession, fixation, and control. And could be the obliteration or destruction of something, the end of something. Now, when we're talking about when we talk about transit Pluto conjoining one's natal midheaven, well, this may manifest in transformation, power, obsession, control, fixation, even the end or obliteration of something. And in this case, it could be a career. Uh, Keep in mind, people, that again, when you're talking about transits that involve Pluto, you're talking about, this conjunction to the midheaven. A lot of people won't even experience this in their lifetime. Remember that, the average person, at least I know in the United States, lives to like around 77, maybe 78 years old. And of course, it takes Pluto much longer to traverse all 12 zodiac signs, go through the whole zodiac cycle. So if you have this transit, it can be very monumental. It can be expressed in the obliteration of a career. It could be the revival of one. Remember, Pluto is connected with rebirth and regeneration. It could sometimes be, sadly, the death of a dominant parent, the dominant parent, which is often the father or an older person that figured prominently in your life scheme. It could be somebody that was in a position of authority over you. It might be some boss or supervisor or superior. It may even be a mentor in some cases. Now, uh, I would say if it was in Capricorn, it could be somebody with math or accounting as some example, or somebody that maybe you study dentistry under in some isolated cases. It could be uh, another thing to keep in mind that the midheaven is connected with success. And it could be something where you might be more obsessed and fixated with about attaining success at this time and improving your stature in life and social status. Um, and because in midheaven, the midheaven is also associated with recognition and notoriety and exposure and getting attention for what you do. And this could be a time where you might feel very driven to do so. And again, going back to the obsession and fixation thing, it could be a time where you might really be more fixated and more obsessed with doing so at this time. You might have some, pursue getting recognition, notoriety relentlessly at this time, more so than usual. It could be a time, you remember that midheaven is connected with responsibilities as well. This could be a figurative death of certain responsibilities that you may have had at this time, or it can be something too where you might really feel more fixated or obsessed with your responsibilities, things that you have to do. And since Pluto is also connected with power and control, you may be trying to have more control over the things that you need to be taken care of. It could be something where you might wind up delegating some responsibilities to other people. Say if this is connected with a business or something where you feel like maybe you've taken on more than you can handle as far as responsibilities go. You might try to disperse things a little bit more evenly and more balanced, and that's how you can gain maybe some control in that. If you're at a point where you've been just bombarded with too many things that you need to take care of at your business, as an example. And also, the midheaven is associated with achievements and accomplishments. So this could be a time where, you might be really much more achievement and accomplishment oriented at this time, more so than usual. And it can be a time where you might really be very fixated with these things, more so than usual at this time. And also keep in mind the midheaven can be connected with that side of ourselves that we can't really suppress, and it's hard to conceal. Because remember, it's the opposite point of the fourth house. The fourth house is associated with what we do, how we may act when nobody's around. I mean, I have Leo on my fourth house cusp in my natal chart, and it can show, more, flamboyant nature when I'm by myself and no one is around, and somebody might go, do you act, maybe I'll act like I'm some entertainer or something, or start singing aloud like I'm some star or something. And the thing about it is when and then when you have, like in my case, the Aquarius midheaven, that is the energy that is more difficult to suppress. If there's some eccentric qualities that I might be showing, it might be very hard to conceal it, even if I'm really trying to. And so anyway, the thing about this is this could also be a time to where you might be trying to, you might be more power driven and trying to, attain some position of authority at this time as well. Perhaps it may be tied in with the power that it may give you. It may also be a time too where you might be more, again, going back to the exposure thing, you might be more fixated and obsessed on obtaining or obtaining some kind of exposure at this time. Now, say if this falls if this is an Aquarius as an example, maybe it could be gaining some kind of notoriety and exposure. Right? It could be doing something bizarre. It could be some idiosyncratic behavior in some isolated cases, or just simply through an Aquarius subject, like something with astrology, astronomy, computers, electronics, innovation, aerospace, rocket science, anything that could be Aquarius related. And at the same time too, what can be difficult about this is that in some cases it can be manifest in the obliteration of someone's reputation and public image. Say if this falls in Capricorn as an example, it could be perhaps a reputation for being very structured and disciplined, working within the parameters, basically. The thing about this is conjunctions in astrology are neutral. They can manifest either positively or negatively, and a lot of that is dependent and predicated on the aspects that this transit makes to other points in your natal chart. Now, another way this transit may be expressed is that it could be about deep research in the father, or the dominant parent, which is often the father, an older person that's figured prominently in your life scheme. It could be an authority figure. It might be where you, for some reason, you might be looking deep into a criminal background of one or more of these people at this time. And it could be a time too where, I mean, this could also manifest in some cases in a Plutonian career. It can be doing something with insurance, or working as a tax examiner, a coroner, a surgeon, somebody in investigations or forensics, or even a death profession, such as going back to being a coroner, doing something, working as a funeral director, as another example, a mortician. And again, this can be, not to be overly morose or morbid, but it can manifest in the death of an older person, or the dominant parent, which is often the father, an authority figure, a mentor. It can also be, Pluto, the 10th house can be, again, associated with energy and qualities that might be hard to suppress or conceal. So at this time, it may manifest in Plutonian qualities that may be very difficult to suppress or hold back at this time. In some cases, it could be obsessive qualities. It might be qualities connected with making transformation, or being somewhat compulsive, or even on the positive end, being very resilient, being able to bounce back from adversity and deal with crisis very well. It could even be, or even being power driven in some cases. Now, another thing too It can also be about the revival, a rebirth of one's, of one's career at this time. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that. I'm back. But anyway, now, and again, and being given that this transit could manifest in the death or rebirth of one's career, say if it falls in Capricorn as an example, it could be a government position or working in politics, accounting, dentistry, carpentry, doing something even with construction, anything that business, anything that could be Capricorn related. And also too, this is a time where it might be very auspicious for getting support to gain notoriety and recognition. Remember that Pluto is associated with support, whether it might be moral, emotional, or monetary support, or a combination of one or more of what I just described. Let's say if this is in Pisces as an example, it could be getting that support, perhaps through doing videos, filmography, like such as putting videos on YouTube. It could be something connected with the photography or the metaphysical as well, which could include astrology. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.